February 24th
Yeah.
will be the next time I play poker.
Uh-huh.
Because trust me, I'm definitely on hiatus
I
after
can-
what happened in December, which we're not going to have that conversation at the moment.
I can't wait to hear the story about you being on a sugar high.
While I'm trying to play poker.
And your wife didn't take the debit card.
Right, exactly.
And there's going to be a story there.
There will definitely be a story.
The Penn, Ohio Backyard Bungalow Radio Show, brought to you by G&J Fencing.
How are you? You're sitting down and you're staring off into space.
I'm a little sore. So let me tell you a little story.
This is how every show is going to begin, and that's okay with me.
Probably.
Because my doctor prescribed to me pain medication, arthritic pain medication for my knee.
Oh, I'm on something like that. I'm on meloxicam.
Well, no, this is an ointment.
Oh.
An augment.
Okay.
And I forgot all about it. And last night my knee was hurting, and I ran into it, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to try this stuff. Well, I smell like a hospital. I've now entered into that. The bedroom's starting to smell geriatric. However, my knee pain was relieved.
Interesting. I've always enjoyed the medicinal ointment smell, whether it's Vicks over the counter
Really?
or Bengay.
I don't mind Bengay.
My father used to get migraines, and there was this ointment they used to sell. They probably still sell it. It's called Capsulin.
I remember that.
And it's got the pepper in it, the whatever the cap.
Yeah, I know, for the scale of hot sauces and all that, whatever.
This ointment was extremely hot when you put it on your body. And my father, when he would get bad headaches, would rub this ointment on his temples.
Really?
I am not joking. Because the burn, I guess, would help.
Capsaicin.
Something like that.
You know, I got a computer here. I can look it up.
But, yeah. So, yeah, there was this ointment. And my mother used to say, never touch that. Because if you rub your eyes, we'll have to take you to the hospital.
That's what I was wondering. If he got it into his temple, how did he keep it out of his eyes?
I don't know. But he used to use that on his temples. It was frightening because it had a distinct odor to it that would fill our little house that I grew up in. I always knew when my dad had a bad headache. So then we were also told when that happened, we'd have to tiptoe around the house like we were in a library, which, it's only fair.
Sure.
And
light sensitive? Everything had to be dark?
Oh, yeah. Curtains drawn. Yeah. But back to my soreness. I typically do not eat before I go to bed.
Okay.
And obviously, it's bad for you if you're diabetic. Obviously bad for anybody because it's a way to gain weight easily by eating, because your body can't digest the food properly and when you're sleeping, and it stores fat and blah, blah, blah. But one of the main reasons that I do not eat before I go to bed is because I have crazy ass dreams.
Okay. I depended on what I eat. Right. It could affect me.
So last night at my gig at Cracker Jack's, they have their kitchen's open till 2 a.m. I had ate a late dinner before I left for pool league, and I was I was getting a little hungry during my show, and about midnight I go to the bar to go, hell with this. I'm going to order me a nice chicken quesadilla, because they make these incredible quesadillas. They're ridiculous. They're so good. And so I said, I'm just going to eat one triangle. You get 4. Well, I ate all 4 by 2 o'clock. They were all gone. And I was quite satisfied. And I went home and I crawled into bed, and dreaming ensued. All I know is at 5:15 a.m. this morning, I had a crazy ass dream about me playing soccer on some big soccer field with all these athletes, and I was in these guys with purple uniforms were coming at me, and I was trying to get the ball past them, and I got tackled, as they say in football, soccer, depending on who you're going to argue that point with. And all of a sudden, I end up on the floor of my bedroom. I rolled out of bed.
You were chasing bunnies in your sleep.
I mean, I banged my head on my nightstand. Shit's falling everywhere. I wake my wife up. She's freaking out. Oh my God, what's this? She looks over. I'm not in bed. I'm laying on the floor going, ah. That was fun. It was fun. I fell out of bed this morning at 5:15 a.m.
That's a fine. Good morning. How do you do?
I know. So I go back to sleep after I embarrassingly get up off the floor. My dog's licking me. Are you all right? The cats are all like walking around going, what's he doing on the floor? This is our space. Get out of it. And I get back in bed and I go back to sleep, and I woke up this morning and I was really sore. So I don't eat before I go to bed, and I proved it once again that's why I don't.
I have stress dreams.
Ooh.
You know, the more stress I'm under, and it just stress in general. And then I don't remember my dream. However, I remember being stressed while sleeping, and it tenses your entire body, and I'll get up in the morning and I feel it. Same thing. Just everything's sore. I haven't thrown myself out of bed yet, but I know that I sleep probably clenched jaw.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't roll out of bed. I literally think I threw myself out of bed.
You were moving.
Oh, big time.
I'm surprised Cheryl didn't.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised I didn't break something, or I'm lucky I wasn't bleeding from hitting the corner of my nightstand, or God knows what.
I'm guessing you have a pretty good mattress.
Oh, you know what? You know what we did during COVID? You know, we had some extra money. And other than buying the smoker, which I think we've talked about.
Yeah, we were talking.
We also bought a sleep number bed.
Nice.
Because I snore, and they claim they help snoring, which it's helped my wife tremendously with her neck pain, because she's got some arthritis in her neck. Helped her tremendously because of the angle you could set the bed at and control your mattress stiffness and whatnot. But there's a snore setting on the sleep number bed that brings up your head a little bit. So, right. My wife's threatening to start sleeping in the other room.
I sleep with about 8 pillows, all propped in a certain way, and usually sleep on my side or on my stomach.
Yeah.
Which sometimes I feel in my lower back, but it keeps me breathing. I cannot sleep on my back.
Well, see, I fall asleep on my side, then I roll over on my back during the sleeping, and I start snoring when I'm on my back.
I've gotten pretty good at catching myself if I'm on my back, because then I quit breathing. I should probably be. I know that I should be on one of those.
We should be doing the show
alien
from
machines.
I think we should start doing the show from a assisted living facility based on these conversations.
We actually have already been invited to one in Western Pennsylvania, which is on our agenda down the line.
Oh, really now?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah. Marketing department has already been speaking with, So we're finding our audience.
I'm not sure if I'm happy about that.
It's a very cool place.
That's not where I was hoping the direction of the show was going. Because
I'll tell you what.
Start being sponsored by
we're actually
medicinal companies.
Possibly, my idea is to possibly do like a quarterly live broadcast.
Oh, I love that idea.
It's a pretty cool place. We might even be able to incorporate the karaoke part of it.
Really?
And some guest musicians.
Sponsored by your friends at Mucilex.
Yeah, well, I take it daily.
Okay.
I swear by it.
All right, okay.
So does my lower intestinal tract. Now let's go. Let's spin this a little more in a little more fun, celebratory way. Over the holidays, you blessed us with a fine tray of cookies of love and a quart of your wedding soup.
Yes.
And you just got the big thumbs up from the lovely Miss Beth Ann on how different your wedding soup is. I'm learning that this is becoming, I don't know, is it regional? Is it family? I'm finding out that there's a lot of different varieties in the way people prepare wedding soup. There's not necessarily one traditional way. Now, Beth Ann would argue with you because her way is always the right way.
I will wrestle people to the mat verbally about putting pastina in your wedding soup.
And you, none. It's just shredded chicken.
Yes.
You do use the escarole, which I love.
You have
so much heartier.
Right.
No carrots.
No.
Your chicken broth was to die for.
That's made homemade stock.
Now, here's the thing. Your meatballs.
Family
I know
recipe.
You, and I know you, and I wasn't standing next to you, but I've even watched your Facebook and social media posts over the years that you sit there and you make those.
Hand roll them.
Dude, they're, first of all, it's like a machine made them. The consistency of every single meatball, not just in size, but in density.
Yes.
Absolutely perfect.
Oh, yeah.
And the oregano and the Italian seasoning, whatever you use in your family recipe. I'm not going to tell you. That's okay. What picked up, and I don't want to come off sounding like some sort of a food guy, but I didn't get to be this size,
right,
by drinking water. I've eaten a little food in my day, so I'm speaking personally. But the balance between that Italian seasoning in those meatballs and that broth was sure flippin' heaven.
Yes.
It is absolutely. Everything else was just there to be its thing.
Mm-hmm.
But the trick in what I noticed right away in your wedding soup was that balance.
Well, because when you get your tablespoon and you have a little bit of greens on it, the broth, some of the shredded chicken.
Where your textures come in.
I also put celery in my wedding soup. And we get the little couple pieces of celery and then that meatball. And when you chew all of that and get it in your mouth and mix all that together, it's an explosion of Southern Italian love.
My God, it was terrific.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You can tell that was made with love. And then talk about making with love. Your baklava. Well, first off, what was the triple dipped cookie or whatever?
Oh, Finikia?
Dude, again, you can't reproduce that kind of a taste. That is a cookie that was handmade, hand dipped. I mean, every individual cookie is like a little crafted project of love. There's no doubt about it. No Oreo could even come close.
Greek cookies are labors of love. And pastries, absolutely.
Which takes you to the next level is your baklava, which we talked about in the last show. First of all, what I remembered of your baklava was the thickness of it. But the honey and the pastry and so you really do. First of all, I've never run into any place that makes it that size.
Yeah.
I personally haven't. That baklava should be served by the piece, cut in the corner, as two wedges in a beautiful little box with a beautiful little bow. It is, you could make a business out of that. Just baklava.
I did a wedding pre-COVID where they had come over for the wedding meeting when they were putting down their deposit, and I had just got done making some baklava, and I let them sample it, and they loved it so much that they called me the following week and asked me if I would make it for their wedding. So I made 2 big trays. I get about 48 pieces out of a tray, so I made 2 trays and got almost 100 pieces out of it, and they paid me to do
Sure.
which I thought was very nice. And
I can't even begin to imagine. I wouldn't even know how to guess the hours that are put into something
actually,
like
you
that.
know what? It's really not that bad. If you really sit down and bang it out, I can. It's probably about a 3 to 4 hour process.
Mm-hmm.
But what I do with my baklava, and a lot of people don't do this the way I do it, I make it in the oven and then I let it sit overnight and cool completely. And then I make that really hot syrup, boiling hot syrup, which is, it's sugar and water and a little bit of honey and some lemon. And I get that super hot and all nice and it's not as thick as you think when you put it. It's like more, and you just pour it throughout that tray and let the dried baklava absorb that syrup and the nuts and the pastry, and and then you let that sit for another day. You don't serve, so by the time you serve it, you got 2 days worth of work in you. But I mean, total time, hours wise, is probably about 4 hours. But
so Beth Ann, I think it was in the house hours, and she ate her half, and I shortly thereafter ate half of my half, so I had a quarter of it, and it was just amazing. But then I let it sit, for a few days. And came back to it. I did that, which I like. She gets really upset with me all the time. And if it's really well baked, I don't care if it's a cookie, whatever.
Right.
Sometimes a little age on it's not a bad thing.
Well, I know that, but it doesn't get stale because of the syrup.
It was terrific. And it's all about it's sweet, but it's all about the lemon and the honey, and then the rest is that texture.
Yeah, and the walnuts. Yeah.
It's delicious.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You ought to make it up and take a few small boxes with you to all your trivia shows and do some sort of a contest where just limited special people are awarded your baklava, and then just watch what happens in your audience when these people try it.
Well, my wife's been trying to convince me to make it to sell it. Maybe it's something I can consider. I don't really do anything during the day. I could sit there and pound out baklava 3 or 4 days a week. It wouldn't be that bad.
I'm telling you. Well, then over in Youngstown, too, you have some of those neighborhood bodegas and delis and things that would probably pick it up. But you just on Facebook and just even through this and through your shows, you'd probably... Beth Ann last year through several holidays, did a bunch of baking. It actually got to be too much for her. Her product and what she bakes is beautiful, and it was tasty. But it just got to be too much right out of the gate. So people love this stuff. You see the lines at Starbucks?
Yeah, I know. All right. Well,
and home-baked cookies, you're talking $15 a dozen on the bottom end.
Something to consider.
Yeah. So what else have you been up to? Oh, I wanted to ask you specifically. You had 2 holiday shows. I know that New Year's Eve, I'm sure, went great and was an absolute blast. But how'd it go down at the Tiger's Table?
You know what? If I'm sure many of our listeners are local, and if you're familiar with Columbiana County and the small town of New Middletown, it's a one-way, it's a one-stop shop.
I saw
you drive through it, and then it's gone, and then you're heading towards Columbiana.
And it's been there forever.
It's been there, and it has new owners now, and they're two young couples.
I saw mom and son in one of their posts
they got
doing the stuffed shells.
Right, they got the moms and stuff involved, but the 2 owners are 2 married couples. And they're the ones that purchased it off the previous owners, and they cleaned it up. I don't want to say cleaned it up. That's not the word. They added some of their own flavor or did some updating.
Sure.
And didn't change the name. I think they're doing quite well. But what I walked into Saturday, you would have thought Elvis was in town.
Oh, really?
People made reservations.
Nice.
I walked in to set up 45 minutes before my show. The place was already packed. People were coming up to me. I remember you from the Salty Grog. I remember, and this and that, Irish Bob's and Toey's Tavern, because a lot of that's that side of town. And I started my show. Didn't have a lot of singers at first. I sang a few songs. Cheryl came with me, and she's got a voice like an angel.
Yes,
and
she does.
They loved her to death. They were asking for her more than me. Like, I'm gonna have to start putting her on the payroll. And but we did get we got it rolling, got some singers going, and at the end of the night we were getting ready to quit, and the owner said, "One more song." And then somebody from the back of the room who remembered something from some other show a long time ago shouted out, "Paradise by the Dashboard Light." And I have been known to sing that.
Yeah.
Here and there, and I've sung it with people that have asked, girls that have come up to ask me, "Will you do the guy part? We know you do it. We know you do it." I always wanted to do the girl part, and I've done it with certain individuals,
8
female,
minutes, 8 minutes and 11 seconds of theater,
and it is theater, and So I got my wife. I said, "Come on, Cheryl, we're going to do this," and she loves to do it with me, and we rocked it. And I think the version that I use is different than the Sound Choice version that most people might see at a karaoke show. But I use a version from a company called All Hits. Their version has, you are required to do the sportscaster part.
Oh, that's okay.
So
like
you
that.
You want to talk about
like
theater. So what I do is I'm singing the song on my normal microphones. And then when it comes to the sportscaster part, I will click on my headset and I'll go sit over to the side and I'll do a little cup around the microphone. And I'll go, "And here we go." And I do my little, and I bang it out, and people are looking at me. And and it's quick. It's bang, bang, bang,
Right.
bang, bang. And the look on people's faces when I finish it, and then she goes, "Stop right there." After he's done doing that little sportscaster part in the original song, then the girl kicks in with that "stop right there." People are looking at me going, "Did he just do that?" And I just love karaoke. It's just,
Now it makes me want to come out to a show and do Steelers Wheels,
Ooh.
Stuck in the Middle with You.
Oh, one of our classics.
Open it up with Stephen Wright and doing that. There's a DJ narration where he's the DJ on the radio. They turn it on. I forget what his name is.
Really?
Something Billy.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, they had all this computer and stuff. I could pull it up.
Interesting.
Yeah.
love Stephen Wright.
Stephen Wright I made him laugh. Genuinely laugh. I had him on my radio show when I was in Erie.
Nice.
There's a bunch of comedian moments that I've had, but the fact that Stephen Wright was in the studio with me and he was like in for like an hour, and I wish I could remember what it was that I made him laugh, but I got to see him genuinely laugh. I mean, not just snicker, but I mean,
right.
Yeah, it was fun. I
That's
like
awesome.
him too. I love him.
Absolutely love him. He's amazing.
I bought some used paint. It came in the shape of a house.
Oh my God. There's a lot of good jokes out there. Oh, I have a joke.
Okay.
Okay. Can I tell a short joke?
You're one of the few jokesters that I greatly anticipate when you say I've got a joke.
Okay.
Go ahead.
This farmer's wife's sound asleep in bed upstairs of the farmhouse, and she is suddenly awoken by these loud noises, and she sits up in bed and realizes it's her drunken husband trying to stumble up the steps after a night out in the barn with some moonshine, probably. And she's just sitting there waiting for him, and it takes bang, 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 boom, stumble, bang, 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 stumble. All of a sudden, he walks into the bedroom. He's got a sheep under his arm. And he looks at her and goes, "See, this is the pig I've been screwing." And the farmer's wife looks at him and says, "That's not a pig, you idiot. It's a sheep. And he goes, what are you talking about? I'm talking to the sheep.
Ba-dum-ching.
But
Here.
yeah.
There we go.
That's right. We have sound effects now with our new board.
Yeah, give me the punchline one more time.
What are you talking about? I was talking to the sheep. There we go.
There we go.
Good job.
I have been, so my latest little guilty pleasure here after the holidays is I've been deep diving Conan O'Brien. That's okay. That's my 1970s. That's the red phone. Hopefully Beth Ann will get it.
Gorbachev's on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, go back to that.
What was I saying? The red phone threw me.
Yeah. Your guilty pleasure. Oh, my God.
I completely have totally zoned.
Okay. The following portion of our show is brought to you by your favorite Mind Meld.
I was going to say medical marijuana store.
Oh.
No, I've been deep diving Conan O'Brien.
Really? Because I listened to Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend. I listened to his podcast.
The podcast
which is wonderful.
is terrific. Absolutely. I watch a lot of it on YouTube. And what a great name for him in that podcast when I first came across it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Conan O'Brien Needs a Friend.
I enjoy it.
And, yeah, going back into his career, Beth Ann and I watched the other night. We watched a whole, what was on Conan O'Brien talking about the early days and when they got the show and they built the show. And then his first broadcast hosting the show and all the little stories that went in between it. So we watched that, and then we went back and pulled it up on YouTube and then watched the very first Conan episode. It was amazing how much I remembered because that was a big deal back then.
Oh, yeah, it was.
I was a Dave Letterman. I was such a Dave Letterman loyalist.
I was too.
It took me a long
Very
time.
loyal.
My son was really into Conan. So we kind of had that little rivalry.
Nice.
But
he's hilarious. A lot of great skits. A lot of great skits.
I didn't realize how much Robert Smigel was involved.
Oh, you didn't know that?
I knew, but I didn't realize that he was the whole story, the backstory that Conan wasn't going to do it unless Robert Smigel came on. And then the story with looking for a band and him running into Max Weinberg and his wife on a street in New York.
Yeah, how about that one?
And that was right after. I was telling Beth Ann because Springsteen had fired his band. He fired them all. And then he went out solo, did the solo album, and did the song Youngstown.
Yep.
And I went and saw him at Stambaugh. And it wasn't the same. I mean, It was great to see a legend like that, but I honestly left before the show was over, which I'm probably ticking off.
It doesn't have the same energy. He's a little more somber when he does his solo stuff.
Yeah. Ode to something Jode.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it was neat to think back on that particular time in life. And that was all the rage, was the headlines between Jay Leno and Conan O'Brien. I mean, I knew that he had come out of nowhere, but going back and looking at it, I didn't realize just how out of nowhere he had come, writing on The Simpsons. And it was Lorne Michael that really got him the gig.
Insult comic dog.
Brilliant.
So that's Smigel, man. He's just brilliant.
That was so much fun. So what do you got coming up here for the rest of the winter? What are your next steps? Got any big plans?
Well,
I know you mentioned to me you're going to go see Tom Segura.
Yes, I'm going to see Tom in May for the second time. Look forward to that. Yeah, in Pittsburgh.
I saw it this morning.
And then I'm also going on February 24th. There is a chocolate, wine, and whiskey festival in Pittsburgh at the casino, at the Rivers Casino.
Okay.
And my wife and I and some friends are going down there. We got VIP passes, which get you early access, and you get some special samples and blah, blah. I'm going for the chocolate. My wife and all our crew are going for the alcohol. And then while they all get drunk, I think I'm going to sneak away to the casino and play some Texas Hold'em and try to lose some money. Which is always so satisfying for me.
We'll dive into this part of your life once you've come out of rehab. I'll just wait until I make the announcement that Ed's going to rehab, and then when you come out of rehab, we'll discuss it.
I fell into poker over the last like 6 months or so, and I'm on. Let's just put it this way: I'm on hiatus.
Yes, that's a good.
Because
that.
I had my personality,
but you've got a hiatus.
Addictions.
You've got a hiatus going on with a brass ring, because you're already planning. You've got. So it is a hiatus.
It is.
You're not right now, but you're looking forward to.
February 24th will be the next time I play poker. Because trust me, I'm definitely on hiatus after what happened in December, which we're not going to have that conversation at the moment.
I can't wait to hear the story about you being on a sugar high
while I'm trying to play poker.
And your wife didn't take the debit card.
Right, exactly.
And there's going to be a story there.
There will definitely be a story. So,
well, that's fun.
So yeah, the other than that, I am focusing on trying. I'm going to try to get my website up and running again, because right now I have my domain name, which I've never lost, simplyed.com. But if you go to it right now, there's nothing on it. It's basically dead because it was way out of date, and my good friend Rama McKenzie, who designed my original website, and I have not really been able to get together either scheduling wise or financially wise to get it up and running again. So that is a goal for 2024.
I'd be more than happy to help you.
Yeah, we should that's something we should probably discuss.
I've started using Squarespace.
Oh, really?
And that's what I'm using on. And it's the site. The site keeps changing every week. I keep adding to it, so it's a work in progress.
Okay, that's something we should discuss.
My brother actually uses. I've got a couple clients I'm working with that we use Squarespace. My brother's site is Squarespace, so I kind of
And there is. God, I don't know if I should talk about it because I don't want to jinx it.
Well, then don't.
All right, I will tell you that I'm hopefully going to be making an announcement in the next couple of months about an event that I will be doing this summer in Youngstown. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay.
And then you and I can discuss it off mic, and we can discuss how we want to play it up.
Okay.
Because
I like that.
If it is everything that I'm hoping it will be the biggest thing I've ever done karaoke-wise.
Okay.
Since I've started. And I will tell you right out the gate, it has nothing to do with a contest.
Okay.
Nothing. But it's going to be big.
Reminds me of the days we first started the karaoke and concert thing.
Oh, geez, at the Metroplex.
That was fun.
I did look good in the tux. Dana, speaking of the karaoke and concert, with our big giant Pioneer banner hung across the stage.
It was 30 some years ago.
I was digging through some boxes recently.
Okay.
And guess what I came across? The original tuxedo that I wore that night. I did not, let me put it this way, I did not try it on.
Rondinelli's out of business now, right?
Right.
Okay. So I can say this because Bobby Tombo had a really good relationship with Rondinelli.
Absolutely.
I forget those people's names, but they had locations everywhere. Mm-hmm. And they got to know us through RT Audio, and then they got to know, and karaoke, and then they got to know me even through the radio. So every time I turned around, I was being handed a Rondinelli tuxedo for some sort of event. And there was a period of my life back in the late 90s that people could come over to my house, and I had an entire closet
full of tuxedos that were never returned. Tuxedos.
I had After Six white coats with black trousers. I had everything.
Very nice.
My brother still loves telling people because we used to go over to Dana's and open up his closet. Dear, take your pick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I found that in a box, and I shook it out and held it up to my waistline, and I laughed hysterically for about 5 minutes.
We were all so small.
We were small. I svelte.
Remember years ago, my Aunt Genevieve, in her last days, she was old and feeble, and she hadn't seen me for a while, and I come walking in, and she was sitting in the rocking chair, and she just looks at me, and she goes, "Oh, Dana, you've gotten so fat."
Oh, like
First
right out
words,
the gate.
Right out of the gate. I just looked at her and said, "Aunt Jen, I ate little Dana a long time ago."
Well, I went and saw my 87-year-old father, who I hadn't seen in a couple of months, which is terrible because he only lives 35 minutes away from me. But I went and spent some time with him the last week, and he comes up, and before he let me give him a hug, his hand reached out and tapped my belly and goes, "What's up with that?" Thanks, Dad. Thanks, Dad. Thanks a lot.
Music-wise, you came up in conversation with myself producing my latest podcast, music podcast, the other day.
I came up?
Yeah, you came up in my own conversation with myself.
Interesting.
I have Beth Hart on this next show.
Oh, really?
She's coming to MGM Northfield.
Nice.
You've become recently this last year, I know, you discovered Beth Hart.
I love her.
Yeah. So I mentioned you and
why, thank you. I appreciate that.
Thinking that might be a show you might want to go.
I'm going to have to definitely look into that.
Take a look
She's
at
got an amazing voice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my God.
And then Cornell has Tangled Up in Blues coming.
Yes, to
to
Packard.
Packard Music Hall.
They had to reschedule it. But yeah, it is coming. Yeah, that was originally scheduled for a few months ago.
It was like in October.
Yeah.
Because I was starting to.
Right. So I'm hoping that gets that. I really hope people support that show because it's not a genre of music that's maybe super popular around here, but the artists that he's bringing in, he's got some good players coming in.
There's a big blues audience in this area. There always has been.
I'm hoping they show up for that.
Cleveland, Erie also has a blues festival up there in the summer that's outside that is just outstanding. But Anna Popovic, you can't get much better than that. If I remember right, Tony Castro is on that bill, and Shamika Copeland, who I've followed for quite a few years. And I think she's even done a bunch of stuff down in Pittsburgh, if I remember.
Nice.
I've run across her. She's terrific. But, I'd like to have Packard people in.
Well, we're going to do that. We're definitely going to bring some Packard people in to promote some of the upcoming shows that are coming up. We're going to make that happen real soon.
My wineries and breweries right now are either on hiatus or indefinitely in winter mode.
Yeah, that's right. They don't do a lot of entertainment.
But Big Rail Brewing in Grove City, I really want to get. There's a couple things. I'm going to pick out a show here, and I want you and Cheryl to come out, even though it's winter. We'll put on our big puffy coats and go out to Big Rail Brewing because they have fire pits and everything. And there's a couple of shows that are coming. Buffalo Wob is a show that looks just terrific. But I'm really looking forward to this year.
Yeah.
I mean, things are coming together.
I don't have as many weddings as I would like to have booked.
Well, but now you have this.
I'm hoping that there's more people out there, maybe listeners, or reminding them that I'm a great wedding DJ. I'm trying not to reach around and pat myself on the back too hard, but I'm really good at what I do, and I'm very proud of that. So I can say that. I could admittedly say that. And I take a lot of pride in DJing weddings, and there's a lot of joy. The thing about DJing a wedding is there's just so much joy in the room, and I've always fed off that, and I think it makes me. I've never been a club DJ. I went from sound engineering to karaoke, and then the wedding thing kind of fell in my lap because we met at your karaoke show, Kahunaville. Do you DJ weddings? Would you consider DJing our wedding? That's how all that started. I said, well, I've got a bunch of CDs. I could probably, I went to Bobby and said, set me up with a little DJ mixer where I can crossfade. And
so here's the thing. I'm sitting here. We're kind of finding our own footing. We're kind of finding our voice. We're eventually going to take this show and start doing this a little bit live where we can have an audience and have people come out and participate. And part of what I'm starting to find out, my whole life, and you've been with me as long as anybody, has been always pitching ideas. So I don't mind this podcast being kind of a platform for you and I pitching ideas. If somebody runs with an idea, if they take our idea and run with it, that's fine.
That's fine.
If they don't give us credit, we'll just claim it for ourselves and ridicule them. Or
you've already tried to get me to sell my baklava. Now we're trying to
I'm
promote my
pitch,
wedding business.
I'm going to pitch you another idea.
Oh, no.
How much fun would it be to do this podcast and turn it into an afternoon live stream and give away a wedding?
Whoa.
Where you could officiate, you could DJ it. We get it at some like winery or brewery somewhere. Okay. We bring in some people, maybe the podcast, maybe for the first hour, we sit with the bride and groom and we give them all kinds of advice and have conversations about weddings, about marriage.
A podcast wedding.
And then if they survive our conversation with them in the trials and tribulations of relationships and getting married, if they get through that part, then we throw them a wedding and we have it there. And just pitching, I think that could be kind of fun.
Wow.
We're trying to keep it local, trying to keep it regional.
Absolutely.
What better way?
I'm like, and you know what's even funnier? I am a registered minister. I could marry them as well.
We either do it on location, and we have access. Beth Ann books Knockin' Boots Farm, which is right out here on 18.
Right.
One of these days when you have time, it's a mile. We'd take a little ride over, and you got to come see this.
Absolutely. I'd love to see it.
This party palace that we have out here on Route 18.
Okay.
And which would also be a venue. I've got musicians that would probably come. We could turn this into a bit of a party.
Right. Interesting. I'm liking that. Wow, we're just throwing them all out there.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we're going to be selling used cars.
Brother Deke's House of Holiness and Fine Used Automobiles. Come on out to church on Sunday mornings. A weekly tithe will get you in a brand new used car.
Yeah. We'll throw in a free joke. A free joke to tell your friends.
Free joke. That's right, folks. Brother Deke's House of Holiness and Fine Used Automobiles.
I like that.
No foreign cars, American only.
I think we'd have a hard time converting people.
That's how you turn a used car lot into a church.
That's right. Why not?
Run a tax exempt. Well, they're not car payments, they're tithing.
Don't get me into tax exempt churches.
Oh, man.
That's a whole other. There's some crazy things on Netflix right now. Some of these cults that are getting tax-free exemption.
Sure.
That's
another. It is. Well,
that's a whole other thing.
How about the NFL?
Oh, please.
Speaking of cult.
Oh, that's okay. Go Browns.
Yeah. Steelers.
What?
Steelers this weekend.
Why?
I don't know, but I know they're playing.
They're playing a useless game because they are not in the playoffs this year. The Browns are playing the Bengals and resting their players for the first round of the playoffs, which begin the following week. And I look forward to the fact that we are back in the playoffs after, we made it during the COVID thing, but that didn't count. But I'm feeling pretty good about my Browns this year. Cautiously optimistic. Let me leave it at that.
All I have to add to that is go sports teams.
Go sports ball. So you're going to call it sports ball. Yeah, I don't do sports ball.
Dude, and just like that, 45 minutes has gone by.
I know that.
Isn't this fun?
I love it.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a lot of things to work on.
I have a prize window that's coming soon.
Nice.
We're going to be able to break out on this program.
Okay.
We're already starting to look forward to movies at the drive-in movie theater. I haven't talked to the owners recently.
Excellent.
I have ideas.
Sure.
But, I'm going to actually start working on Reynolds Drive-In Radio, and I think you and I are both going to be a part of that.
I'm interested in that for sure. And of course, if anybody would like to be our corporate sponsor for our fine show, we're always looking for sponsorships.
We're always looking for any kind of, and not to mention we would like you to go and subscribe. You are now on YouTube.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's all up on YouTube.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. It's just the audio version right now.
That's okay.
And I'm learning that and a couple of other things. continuing to add to that. But we've got some people that are listening, and I'll be sharing that even more.
Very good. And I appreciate anybody out there that's listening right now. I really do.
Your Facebook page is going to go through a major upgrade here.
Yes.
Heading into the spring.
Yep.
And a lot of this stuff will be added to it.
And hopefully...
And if you're looking for a good wedding DJ, somebody to represent your day well, may I point you in the direction of Simply Ed. And I've got a banner.
Very economically priced, too, by the way.
I have your a banner and your name and your phone number on there, and you can even click on it, and it'll take you right to your Facebook page. It's at MrDanaStuff.com.
Nice. Thank you, Dana.
So we'll work on your website.
Okay.
And then we also got to work on our ping pong game.
Yes. I'm looking forward to that, by the way. I don't even remember the last time I held a ping pong paddle.
Wedding soup out of this world, a little hard to get around, but that baklava is a big money maker for you.
Thank you, buddy.
I'm telling you, it's terrific.
All right.
Okay?
Let's get it rolling.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. See you next time.
The Penn, Ohio Backyard Bungalow Radio Show, brought to you by G&J Fencing.